Hello, Stratomaticers. Welcome back. It's been a couple weeks. Took a little bit of a break during the holidays, had COVID for a bit, and then just got back from a vacation to Key West. So we had some fun and some sun. I'm from Minnesota, so to go someplace that's 85 degrees and sunny when it's freezing or below is always a blessing. So I had a good time, caught some fish, drank a lot of beer, ate some good food, and had fun with friends and family. So very thankful for that getaway. Getting back to Stratomatic baseball, I'm thinking about what to do next. One of the things I thought I'd do to break it up is play my 1911 Detroit Tigers season. Intend to do that tonight. We'll have the Tigers against the Senators in a regular season matchup from June of 1911. Some context behind the series that I've been playing, or the season that I've been playing. I've been playing every game using the historical rosters for both teams, focusing solely on the Detroit Tigers. So at this point we are at 44 games into the season. This will be the 45th game. The record for the Tigers is 24-20. They got off to a pretty darn good start and then have been kind of at a 500 clip, a little bit below a 500 clip the last month. I think May was, they were below 500 as a team, but really enjoying it. I think historically, speaking briefly about the Tigers, you had Hall of Famer Sam Crawford and Ty Cobb, of course, on that team. I'm a Ty Cobb fan. I enjoy Ty Cobb. I think he's gotten a bum rap over the years. I think there's a lot of supporting documentation out there that can paint a different picture of him than what the media and world may seem to think. So enough said about that. But the 1911 Tiger team was a really interesting one. They sent records, got off just to a tremendous start, and then did a monumental collapse at the end of the season. And when you start looking at this Tiger team as it stacks up against other teams in the American League in 1911, you really do get the sense that they were probably above the middle of the pack, but they certainly weren't elite. They had good pitching, they had decent hitting. Defensively, they were average probably. But I've really enjoyed playing the 1911 season. It's been a lot of fun to get to know the other American League teams. Haven't really spent much time on the National League teams, but might do some one-offs with those guys too. So anyways, it's a little bit about the background here. Again, we're playing the 45th game of the season. Starting pitchers for tonight, we have Detroit playing at Griffith Stadium in Washington. Starting pitcher will be Ed Willett, who's a righty for the Tigers. He had a pretty decent season in 1911 from a standpoint of contemporary numbers. For 1911 numbers, there wasn't anything fantastic about it. He was 13-14. He had a 3.66 ERA. He did make 27 starts. He had one save, 231 innings pitched, 261 hits allowed, 80 base on balls, and 86 strikeouts. So pretty average pitcher for 1911, but he did pitch a number of innings. When you look at all the 1911 starting pitchers, most of them have an endurance rating of 8 or 9 before that POW becomes a factor. He's got a 1 and an 18 range error rating. No box. He has a 0 for box, a 4 for wild pitches. But what's kind of cool about him and others is that his batter card, he's a number 4 and hits with power, and he bats from the right side. So everyone could hit back then. And so you'll see the same thing with the Senators pitcher as well, that he had above average speed. We have some unique numbers to keep in mind if Willette's on the bases. There's some exceptions to the base numbers that pitchers typically have, and he can hit for power. So, it's not a wasted out when he comes up. On the other side of the field, we have the Washington Senators. They had a terrible record in 1911, finished in the bottom of the American League. Long Tom Hughes is a starting pitcher. He's a right-handed pitcher. Long Tom, I looked up why they called him that. He was actually 6'1", which back then was considered to be tall. You know, and you look at his numbers, and this is so interesting to me. It just shows you how the game has changed. So he was 11-17, but he posted a 3.47 ERA, which, you know, if you had posted a 3.47 ERA today, that puts you probably in the top, you know, 10, 12 pitchers in either league. But back then he was just you know, probably considered a below average pitcher. I think career-wise he ended well below 500 in terms of a one-loss record. You know, he had 27 starts, 2 saves, 223 innings pitched, gave up 251 hits, walked 77 and struck out 86. And you don't see a lot of those walk strikeout numbers today like you did back then either. Usually it's a 2-to-1 ratio of strikeouts to walks for most pitchers, regardless of how good they are. But in 1911, you see a lot of these average pitchers, you know, having almost a 1-to-1 ratio, which was interesting. Home runs allowed 7. Willette only allowed 5. Again, dead ball era, so not a lot of home runs given up by the pitchers. Kind of changes the complexity of that, and we'll talk a little bit about that more when we get into the game. So those are your starting pitchers for both clubs. Detroit is the visiting team. Our lineup for the Tigers, you've got Davy Jones in left field, Donnie Bush at short, Ty Cobb in center, Sam Crawford batting in the 4th spot. He plays right. But look at your defensive ratings too. 1s, 2s, 3s. Falls off a little bit with Jim Galante at first. He bats from the right side. George Moriarty plays 3rd. Charlie O'Leary is at 2nd. Oscar Stanage is behind the plate. He's got a -3 arm. And then Ed Willette, as I mentioned, is your pitcher. Excellent defensive numbers, 118. And then on the mound again for the Washington Senators is Tom Hughes. So this will be an interesting game. A lot of stealing. I really like to push aggressiveness on the base paths when the opportunity presents itself. From a standpoint of holding runners, well, that's a +1 hold. You've got Stanage, which is a -3 arm. So, you know, not the greatest to steal against, but not the worst either. Looking at the Washington Senators, of course, they have Walter Johnson. I think he pitches actually in the 46 game, so if we get done with this, I might do the 46 game, which I think has Walter Johnson pitching. Always fun to have him on the mound to see what will happen. But you've got Clyde Milan in center, Wood Conroy at 3rd, Jack Lelevitt in left. Notice a +3 arm on Lelevitt, so we'll get some opportunities for some extra bases with him. Doc Essler in right, George McBride at short, Bill Cunningham at 2nd, John Henry at 1st, Eddie Ainsmith behind the plate at catcher. He's got a +2 arm rating, and then again Tom Hughes on the mound. So Hughes has a 0 hold rating. You couple that with Ainsmith's +2, and it gives some favorability, especially to some of the faster Detroit Tiger players like Crawford and Cobb and Davy Jones and Donnie Bush. So hopefully we can get some stolen bases here today. And again, for the Tigers, Ed Willette is on the mound. So that's way of introduction for the two teams. Let's play some ball. So one thing I did forget to do was just talk through the rules and ballpark. So we are playing super advanced. We'll use all the rules that are in the book as they can be applied to the game. But we're also using ballpark effects. So this game took place at Griffith Stadium on the 2nd of June, 1911. Of course, it was a day game. It was on Friday. Time of game was 2 hours and 5 minutes. How refreshing is that, considering the length of games today? Paid attendance was 2,268, so pretty quiet ballpark. The ballpark effects, though, for Griffith Stadium, 1 through 5 results in a single for a left-handed batter. Otherwise, it's a line out, 6 or greater to the second baseman. Home runs, 1 to 19 for a lefty. 20 is an out to right field. It's friendly to the big hitters from the left side. Ballpark effects for right-handed batters, same as the lefties, 1 through 5. It's a single, 6 or greater, it's an out to the shortstop. And then for home run balls hit by right-handed batters, much less forgiving park on a 1 to 5. It results in a home run, 6 or greater, an out to the left fielder. So that's our ballpark for today's game. Again, we have Long Tom Hughes on the mound. Let's go ahead and see how this goes. Davy Jones is going to lead it off for the Detroit Tigers. That's a 1 and a 12 against a right-handed pitcher. Results in a pop out to the second baseman for our first out. Get the switch hitter Donnie Bush up. Bush will be hitting from the left side of the plate. Hughes kicks his leg and delivers. A 3 and a 9 against a right-handed pitcher, results in a single to left field. So Bush gets on base with 1 out. We were talking a little bit earlier about the base stealing in this game and base running. We've got a nice rating here for Donnie Bush when it comes to stealing bases, a 2 through 12. Automatically guaranteed a good lead. No opportunities for an out. A 15 though. We look at the pitcher-catcher matchup here for the Senators, and you've got Ain Smith with a +2 arm. You have a hold rating of 0 for Long Tom. You've got a +2 for the pitcher-catcher modifier. Even with a good lead, that would knock a 15 down to 13. +2 gives you back to 15. So really a 75% chance of Bush being able to steal second successfully. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to get him over to scoring position. So I need to roll a 15. We'll roll first for the good lead just to see if something crazy happens here. And we rolled a 3, which I believe does not result in anything crazy. It would have been a roll or a 1 or a 2. So nothing happens there. So we get the good lead. Now we're going to roll. We need a 15 or less in order for Bush to move over to second base. And that's a 20. So Bush is caught stealing. Again, I mentioned that I try to play this aggressively on the base paths when I can with this year, and you win some and you lose some. So Bush is thrown out, so that gives us 2 outs now, and brings up Ty Cobb. Batting from the left side, we've got a 2 and a 6, results in a fly ball to right field B. So F9 gives us our 3rd out. So aggressive base running probably runs us out of the inning, but that's okay. We're gonna play it that way. We'll be statistically in good shape if we keep trying to do that. After half an inning, we have a scoreless ball game, 0-0. We've got the Washington Senators coming up next. So Clyde Milan is going to get us going for the Senators. He's a left-handed batter against the righty Ed Willett. That's a 2 and a 4. 2 and a 4 against a right-handed pitcher results in a walk. So Milan is on first. We'll take a look at his ability to run. He gets a good lead on a 2 through 6 or an 11. 17 is his good lead run rating. Stanage has a -3 arm, and it looks like Willett has a +1, so we'd be looking at a modifier of -2, so a 15 or less for Milan to go to second. I'm going to roll for a good lead. Senators don't have anything to lose. They're bottom dwellers, so let's see if we can get off to a good start here for them. So good lead is accomplished. I rolled a 6, and then we are going to need a 15 or less. 13 or less in order for Milan to be able to steal second. And that's a 6. So Milan steals second. And just like that, the Senators have a runner in scoring position for the right-handed hitting Whit Conroy. I am not going to hold Milan at second. Conroy is going to swing away. The other thing to note too is the bunting ratings are really pretty good for all of these players as well. They could all bunt, they played small ball, they did whatever they could to get the guys around. Hit and run ratings are very good as well. So we'll see some of that take place, something we wouldn't see much happening with the more contemporary teams. So Conroy's up. That's a 4 and a 9 against a right-handed batter. Results in a triple on a roll of a 1, a single 2 through 20 with 2 stars. It's going to be a single, so Conroy is going to get a hit. He's going to score Milan from second, and the Senators have a 1-0 lead. So that stolen base by Milan pays off. Conroy is able to knock him in with a single, and the Senators have a 1-0 lead. Jack Lelevit is up next. I'm going to keep Conroy at first, but I am going to hold him. So it's going to be our shortstop and first baseman who are going to be keeping Conroy close to the bag at first. Pitch to the left-handed hitting Lelevit. It's a 1, so it results in a potential wild pitch. So on a 4 or less, we'll throw a wild pitch, and he does not. So we're going to re-roll the 3 dice. Conroy still being held at first. A 2 and an 8 against a right-handed pitcher results in a single 2 stars. So Lelevit reaches on a single, moving Conroy over to third. And the Senators are off to a very promising start here. It's a beautiful thing about baseball. Each game is a new season. And regardless of how bad your team is doing, there can always be hope with that day's game. So let's see if the Senators can keep it going. Doc Essler is going to be up next. Lelevit, some pretty crazy steal numbers here. A lot of opportunities for a good lead and a couple opportunities to be picked off as well. Going to hold. No, I'm not going to hold Lelevit. I'm hoping I'm going to get a double play here. So the pitch to Gessler is going to be a 3 and an 11 against a right-handed pitcher. That's going to be a ground ball first base B. Should score a runner at first. Batter safe, runner at first out going to second. Other runners advance 1 base. So Lelevit's out on the fielder's choice. That's our first out of the inning. Gessler's going to reach. And that's going to score Conroy. So Gessler's going to pick up the RBI. And he's at first base on a fielder's choice. Lelevit's retired. We have 1 out. Man on first. George McBride is up next. Taking a look at the back of McBride's card, he was a 235 hitter. And we've got Bill Cunningham up next after him, who was a 190. So you get into that bottom half of the Senators lineup, and you got a lot of weak hitters. So Gessler is going to be held at first. We've got McBride up. He's going to swing away. It's a 4 and an 11 against a right-handed batter. Results in a fly ball left field X. Our left fielder is Davy Jones. He has a 316 for a range error rating. Got 1 down and a runner on first. So a 3 and I rolled a 17 results in an F3. and a 16 with a roll of 8, 12 results in an error, an E2. So that's an F3 E2. It's going to result in a 2-base error. Runner advances 2 bases. So Gessler is going to move over to third. McBride is going to go to second on that error committed by our left fielder, Davy Jones. So that's going to be an E7. So just like that, 2 more Senator runners are in scoring position. It's going to bring up the weak hitting Bill Cunningham. Again, I mentioned he had batted 190 in 1911, but he does have a bunting rating of A. So I think we might try to take advantage of getting in another run here with 1 down. So Cunningham is going to bunt. I am going to give the defense the benefit of the doubt and position the corners in. So, considering Cunningham's weak average and the fact we have a runner 90 feet away, we're going to go ahead and do a squeeze here. I'm going to call a safety squeeze though by Cunningham. So he is infield, the corners are in. So we're going to refer to the next letter on the chart. So that moves that bunt rating from an A to a B. Let's see what happens here. So our ball is hit to the third baseman. I rolled a 1, which is going to result in a possible wild pitch. So disregard that roll for the position player. We'll see if it's a wild pitch on a 4 or less. It's not. So we're going to re-roll the dice. That's a 3 and a 7. So this time the ball is hit back to the pitcher, and we have a 7, resulting in a bad bunt. Bad, see description on sacrifice bunt chart. Batter lays down a bad bunt. Lead runner is thrown out by the fielder. So that ball is back to the pitcher. So Gessler gets thrown out. 1, 2, and that's the second out. I'm going to advance McBride though. Third. Cunningham gets to first. We got runners on the corners again with John Henry. Henry was only a 203 hitter in 1911 as well. Like I said, you get to the bottom of the Senator order and it's pretty bad. We have 2 outs, so we can't bunt again. We're going to go ahead and swing away with John Henry. That's a 6 and an 11 against a right-handed batter. Results in a pop out to the shortstop. So that's a pop out to short for our third out. And the Senators pick up 2 runs and they strand 2. After 1, it's Washington 2 and the Detroit Tigers 0. Top of the second, Senators holding on to a 2-0 lead. Left-handed batter Sam Crawford is up first for the Tigers. Pitch from Long Tom Hughes to Crawford results in a walk. A 2 and a 9 against a right-handed pitcher is a walk. So Crawford reaches, gives the Tigers the leadoff base runner. Taking a look at our steal opportunity here. We've got Jim Delahanty on deck. Catcher Eddie Ainsworth for the Senators has a +2 arm rating. Hughes has a 0 hold. It's going to negate the good lead, so I need a 15 or less by Crawford in order to steal the base. I'm going to roll for a good lead. I need a 2 through 9 or an 11. That's a 5, no random event, so we get the good lead. So on a 15 or less, Crawford will be able to steal second base, and that is a 6. So batting 500, metaphorically speaking, for my stolen base attempts for today. I'm 1 for 2 with the Tigers so far. Moves Crawford over to second with Delahanty, breaks up the double play opportunity. Pitch from Hughes to the right-hander. 4 and a 5 results in a ground ball third base B. Ground ball third base B is if hit to first or second, batters out, runner advances 1 base, otherwise batters out, runners hold. So we're going to score that 5-3. Crawford remains at second. Delahanty's retired for the first out of the Tiger second. George Moriarty's up next. We've got Charlie O'Leary on deck. Just taking a look here at Moriarty's statistics. I'm going to try to bunt Moriarty over to get Crawford over to third for O'Leary. Well, maybe not. Let's have him swing away. It's a 6 and a 9 against a right-handed batter. Results in a fly ball right field B. So F9 for our second out. Let's take a look at something real quick here, gang. It's been a while since I've played the game. It's funny how the rules can get away from you if you don't stay up on it. At least it might be my age too. Rules don't seem to stick with me as much. So a fly ball right field only on a B, which it was. Runner at second base may advance. Base runner plus 2, throw to third base from right field. Alright, so we're going to try to get Crawford over to third base with that ball hit to right field. We have a -2 with Doc Gessler. Negates the +2 that I would get for the ball going to third base from right field. Alright, so the worst that can happen more than likely is I just get held at second base. So it's a 15 or less. I need to roll a 20 on the 20-sided dice in order for Crawford to be caught at third. Anything from 15 to 19 will result in Crawford remaining at second. So 3, Crawford's able to advance. He gets a good tag and ends up at third base. So there's 2 down. Crawford's 90 feet away from scoring though. Brings up Charlie O'Leary next. We've got 2 down. We're going to have to swing away here. Hopefully O'Leary's able to bring Crawford home. It's a 3 and a 2 against a right-handed pitcher. Is a ground ball shortstop A. So Crawford gets stranded at third. Tigers are unable to score any runs, and after 1.5, it's the Senators 2 and the Tigers 0. Got Eddie Ainsmith up for the Senators. He's their number 8 batter, followed by Tom Hughes, the pitcher, in the 9th spot. Swinging away with Eddie Ainsworth, a 1 and a 5 against a right-handed pitcher. Results in a strikeout. First strikeout of the day recorded by either team. Brings up the right-handed hitting Tom Hughes. He uses the 3 pitcher card. He has end power and he hits from the right side. So that's a 1 and a 7. It's going to be a ground ball second base A. So 2 up and 2 down for the Senators. Top of the order with Clyde Milan. Milan walked in the first, stole second, and then was able to score on a Wood Conroy single on the bottom of the first. Pitch to Milan, a 6 and an 8. Results in a fly. He's a left-handed batter. results in a fly ball to right field. So F9. Senators go 3 up, 3 down. After 2, it's Washington 2 and the Detroit Tigers 0. Top of the third, Senators lead 2-0. 8th and 9th batters for the Tigers are due up this inning. Oscar Stanage, the catcher, is going to get the Tigers started here in their half of the third. A 4 and a 9 against a right-handed batter results in a single to right field. So Stanage was able to get a leadoff hit. Just a second hit given up by Long Tom Hughes in the game. It's going to bring up the pitcher Ed Willett. Willett is using the number 4 pitcher card. He does swing for power too. He has an N rating and he's hitting from the right side of the plate. Stanage does not pose much of a stealing threat. However, I am going to roll because he does, on a roll of snake eyes, a 2, have a base chance of 20 with a good lead. So what the heck, let's give it a shot. And he does not achieve a good lead. He will be remain at first base though, as he didn't get a good jump. Pitch to Willett. Wow, Yahtzee. A 6 and a 12 against a right-handed batter results in a ground ball, pitcher X. Ball is hit back to Hughes. Hughes' defensive rating is a 4/30. Not a great defensive rating. We'll be rolling on the Super Advanced Fielding chart. So I rolled a 9 for the range selection. Results in a G3. And then our error section will be a roll of 16. And I said he was a 30 with a 16. It's going to result in an E2. So it's a G3 E2, resulting in an error, batter to second, runners advance 2 bases. It's going to be an error on our pitcher, Long Tom Hughes. So we're going to score that in E1. Willett's going to go to second. And Stanage will move over to third. So the Tigers have runners in scoring position with no outs, and the top of the lineup, Davy Jones, due up next. So we'll move our cards over here. So a bit of nice work done by Willett, aided by the Hughes error. No outs. Davy Jones is up. Jones was popped out to the second baseman in the first inning. 5 and a 12 against a left-handed batter. 5 and a 12 is a ground ball, pitcher X. So Hughes is going to get another attempt here with runners on second and third. So he's a 4 for a range, as results in a G1, and then his 30 results in a 9, and that will result in no error. So a G1 blank with runners on second and third results in a runner advance. So batters out, all runners advance 1 base. So Jones is going to move the runners over. He's going to pick up an RBI. Stanage is going to score, and Willett's going to move over to third base. Score that a 1-3 for the first out. And that's going to bring up our shortstop, Donnie Bush. Bush is 1 for 1 in today's game. He had a single in the first. He was caught stealing, though, in the first as well. So let's see what he can do here with the runner on third base. The pitch, a 6 and a 9 against a left-handed batter. Bush is a switch hitter, So he'll be batting from the left side of the plate, results in a strikeout. That's 2 down now. First strikeout of the game for Hughes. He's going to bring up the Georgia Peach, Ty Cobb. Cobb flew out to right field in the first. Faces Hughes with 2 outs. Delivery by Hughes. A 3 and a 5 against a right-handed pitcher. It's going to result in a strikeout. So the Tigers are able to mount a bit of a rally. They get 1 back. At the end of 2.5, it's the Senators 2 and the Tigers 1. Willette's going to face Wood Conroy as the Senators begin the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Conroy is 1 for 1. He had did score a run in the 1st inning in today's game. Pitch from Willette is a 4 and an 8 against a right-handed batter, and that's going to be a single, 1-16. Line out to third base, 17-20. So that is a single. So Conroy is 2 for 2 in today's game. We are not going to steal with Conroy, however, we are going to hold him. Batter now is the left-handed hitter Jack Lillivette. Lillivette is 1 for 1 on the day. He had a single in the first, as Conroy did. So Conroy is being held at first by our shortstop Donnie Bush and our first baseman Jim Delahanty. Pitch to Lillivette is a 5 and a 7, although we did get a 2, so we're going to re-roll the white dice. On a 1 through 3 there's a possible balk, 4 through 6 a pass ball. So our catcher Oscar Stanage is going to get challenged here. He has a pass ball of 4 or less, and it's a 3. So a pass ball does occur. That's going to move Conroy to second base. So the pitch gets away from Stanage. Conroy gets the second on a pass ball. Jack Lillivette still in the box. Infield's playing normal. The pitch is a 6 and an 8 against a left-handed batter. 6 and an 8 is a fly ball, right field B. So that's going to be an F9. I am going to check though to see if Conroy advances. He has a base running chance of 1-14. Our right fielder has an arm of -3. That is Sam Crawford. So we'd have a +2 for the attempt of a throw at third, -3 for his arm. That would make it a base chance of a 15. On this particular result, I would need to roll a 20 in order for Conroy to be thrown out. However, a roll of 15 through 19 is going to result in him staying at second base. So I am going to try to move Conroy from second to third with that throw from Crawford. And I rolled a 9. Conroy does successfully make it to third base. So the Senators are doing a nice job of moving their players around on the base paths, getting them in scoring position, and hopefully, in their case, being able to knock them in. Conroy's 90 feet away. We've got Doc Gessler up next. A little bit of perspective on Gessler. He batted .282, one of the stronger Senator hitters in 1911. We're going to swing away with Gessler. That's a 6 and an 11 against the left-handed batter. 6 and an 11 is a ground ball, second base B. With a runner on third, that's going to cause him to stay put as it was hit to the third baseman. So Gessler grounds out 5-3, and Conroy does remain at third base. It's going to bring up George McBride next. We have 2 outs now for the Senators. See if McBride is able to get Conroy in. It's a 3 and a 5 against a right-handed pitcher. Results in a strikeout. So Willette's able to get out of the inning. McBride strikes out. Senators leave 1, get 1 hit. No errors committed by the Tigers, and at the end of 3, it's Detroit trailing the Senators 2-1. Top of 4, Senators lead 2-1. Tigers have Sam Crawford at the plate. Crawford is 1 for 2 on the day. Crawford is 0. Crawford drew a walk in the second inning, and then he had a subsequent stolen base. It's a 4 and a 9 against the left-handed batter. Results in a single to center field. So Crawford now is 1 for 1 on the day with that single off of Hughes. Third hit that Hughes has allowed so far in this game. Crawford achieves a good lead on a 2 through 9 or 11. He did get a stolen base in the second inning when he was able to draw a walk to get on. I would have a 15 or less chance on a stolen base opportunity if I get a good lead. I'm going to try for a good lead here. So a 2 through 9 or 11. So that's a 7. I get a good lead. And now for my stolen base attempt, Ainsmith, the Senators catcher, is a +2 arm. Hughes has a 0 hold rating, so the -2 taken off for the good lead is negated by Ainsmith's arm rating of +2. So a base chance of 15 with the modification results in a 15 for my stolen base. Here we go. And a 7. So Crawford picks up his second stolen base of the game. He's able to move to second base. Brings up Jim Delahanty. Delahanty grounded out 5-3 in the second. He's going to swing away here. Infield's playing normal. It's a 4 and a 5 against a right-handed batter. 4 and a 5 is a ground ball, third base B. It's going to result in Delahanty being thrown out at first for the first out, and Crawford will remain at second base. Brings up George Moriarty. Gio, as we like to call him, flew out to right field in the second. There's 1 down for the Tigers. Infield's playing normal. That's a 4 and a 10 against a right-handed batter. Results in a fly ball, center field BX. Center fielder in this case is Clyde Milan. He's a 117, probably the best Senators defensive player that they have on the field. Our roll is a 15 and an 8. So a 1 and a 15 results in an F3, and a 17 rating for a center fielder, and an 8 is a blank. So F3 is a fly out runner's hold. That's an F8 for our second out. Brings up Charlie O'Leary. O'Leary grounded out 6-3 in the second. That's a 5 and a 6 against a right-handed batter. Results in a triple 1-5, a single, 2 stars, 6 through 20. So that's a single with 2 stars. So O'Leary reaches, picks up an RBI. Stolen base conversion for Crawford pays off as he's able to score from second base. And the Tigers pick up their second run with a 2-out hit by O'Leary. Brings up the catcher Oscar Stanage. Stanage had a single in the second inning. O'Leary is going to attempt for a good lead. He has a steal rating of 17 on a good lead, and that's a 10. He fails to pick up the good lead. However, he will still be held. And that's going to be our second baseman and first baseman doing the duties on that. Pitch to Stanage is a 1 and a 9 against a right-handed pitcher, is a strikeout. So just as he did in the third inning when he struck out Ty Cobb, Tom Hughes is able to get out of a bit of a troubled situation here with a strikeout to end the fourth. Tigers, though, do pick up another run, and they're able to tie the game at 2. So after 3.5, it's the Senators 2 and the Tigers 2. So Cunningham is going to lead it off for the Senators. Second baseman Cunningham hit into a fielder's choice in the first. Looking to get something going here in the Senators' half of the fourth. So 1 and an 8 against a right-handed pitcher results in a ground ball shortstop A. So Cunningham grounds out 6-3 to start the fourth for the Senators. John Henry is up next. Henry popped out to the shortstop in the first. Delivery from Willett. 1 and a 4 against a right-handed pitcher, and Henry picks up his first single of the day. So the Senators have one aboard with 1 out, bringing up the catcher Eddie Ainsmith. Henry does achieve a good lead on a roll of a 6. He needs to be held, otherwise he automatically gets that good lead. So second baseman and our first baseman for the Tigers are going to hold Henry at first. I am going to roll for a good lead. Uh-oh. That's not good. A 2 on that lead attempt achieves a possible balk. Would have been a 1. He could have been potentially picked off. A 2 results in a possible balk. Well, that does not allow 1. So we're going to disregard that roll and re-roll the dice. Henry does not achieve that good lead, however. He does need to continue to be held at first. So that's a 6 and a 6 against a right-handed batter. Results in a single to center field. So Ainsmith is able to get his first hit of the day. Moves Henry over to second base. And the Senators have a little something going with the pitcher Tom Hughes, who's up next. Infield's going to play normal on Hughes. Yeah, I'm just thinking here about possibly bunting with Hughes. Hughes has a bunting rating of C. I'm going to play corners in, just on the off chance that would take place. Looking at the sacrifice bunt. Yeah, I'm going to try to sacrifice bunt with Hughes. Corners, as I mentioned, are playing in. That'll move him from a C to a D on his bunt rating. Still, I think there's a value proposition there. So we'll go ahead and roll for that bunt attempt. And this will be a sacrifice bunt. His goal is to get Henry and Ainsmith moved over one base. So it's a 4. Ball is hit to our first baseman, and a 4 was rolled, which will result in a sacrifice. So Hughes does a great job of laying down that bunt. Henry is going to move over to third. Ainsmith to second. With one out, the Senators have runners in scoring position. Score that a sack for Hughes. Brings up the top of the order with Clyde Milan. Milan drew a walk in the first, then was able to steal second. Flew out to right field as well. Infield is playing normal. Milan's at the plate. Willett pitches. A 1. We have a possible wild pitch. 4 or less, a wild pitch happens. 11, it does not. We're going to re-roll our 3 dice. That's a 5 and a 4 against a left-handed batter, results in a ballpark effect single possibility. So with left-handed hitters, it's a 1 through 5, results in a single 1 star, 6 or greater, it'll be a line out to the second baseman. So here's our roll. It's a 1. So Clyde Milan picks up a single. He's going to drive in John Henry. Ainsmith goes to third, and the Senators retake the lead. Now ahead 3-2. So nice job by Milan. It's going to bring up Wood Conroy next. Conroy is 2 for 2 on the day. Thinking about trying to move Milan over here. We would have a +1 with Willett. Standage's arm is a -3, so excuse me, a -2 for a pitcher-catcher modifier. If I get a good lead, it would actually be 17 -2 with another -2, so it would bring me down to 13 if I try to make that throw with 1 out, or excuse me, 2 outs. No, I'm not going to do it. We're going to swing away with Wood Conroy though. So that's a 2 and a 3 against a right-handed pitcher, results in a ground ball shortstop A. So Conroy has an opportunity to be a hero, keep that hitting streak alive for today's game, but he grounds out 6-3. Inning ends, however, the Senators are able to pick up an additional run off of 3 hits. No errors were committed, and they left 2 on base. At the end of 4, it's Washington 3 and the Tigers 2. Top of the 5th, Tigers trail 3-2. Pitcher Ed Willett is going to get the Tigers started here. Willett is reached on an error by the pitcher Tom Hughes in the 3rd inning. Looking to get something going here for his home team, or for his team. That's a 4 and a 6 against a right-handed batter, results in a walk. So Willett's able to get on base again, second time this game. Left fielder Davy Jones is up next. Infield's going to play normal. Jones is 0 for 2 today with a pop out to second base in the first and a ground out 1-3 in the third. And infield's playing normal. It's a 6 and a 4 against the left-handed batter. Is a ground ball shortstop X. Ball's hit to George McBride, who's a 1/56 for fielding. So has a good ability to get to the ball. It's just a crapshoot as to what happens when he gets there and attempts to field it. Sorry, I just dropped my charts. Alright, so our roll is a 19 and a 10. So he doesn't have any problem getting to the ball. That's going to be a G1. It's what happens with that error rating of a 56 and a roll of a 10. Now he's going to convert it. That's a ground out 6-3. Let's see what happens on that. It's going to be a double play. It's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. So just when the Tigers think they might have something brewing by getting their pitcher on base, Davy Jones hits into a 6-4-3 double play. Donnie Bush is up next, switch hitter, batting from the left side. No, don't need that dice. That's a 6 and a 10. It's going to result in a ground ball third base X. With Conroy 337 for that range fielding number. That's a 20. So that's going to be a G1. And then a 37 for third baseman with a roll of a 9 results in an E1. So it's a G1 E1. Error batter to first. So Bush is going to be able to reach on an error by our third baseman, Wood Conroy. Second error the Senators have committed in this game. First one was off of Tom Hughes. So Bush reaches, brings up the Georgia Peach. Ty Cobb is 0 for 2 on the day with a flyout to right and a strikeout in the third. So let's take a look here at our chance of stealing. It's going to be a base chance of 15. Ty Cobb's at the plate. I'm going to swing away here. I don't want to run a chance of something happening with Bush to get that third out of the inning with Cobb at the plate. So here we go. So that's a 5 and a 5 against a left-handed batter. That's going to result in a home run if it's end power, which Cobb did have, on a 1 through 8 or a double 9 to 20. This ball is hit to the center fielder if it turns out to be a double. So it is a double. So we have ball hit to the center fielder, so that's going to move Bush from first to third. Cobb's going to be at second. So now let's take a look at advancing Bush and what the chances might be on that from third home. So our center fielder is Clyde Milan. He's got a -2 arm. So let's take a look at our computation here. So our result's a double. So it's A, running speed plus outfielder's arm. Bush is a 17 plus the -2 for the center fielder's arm brings us down to 15. If there's 2 outs, add 2, and there are 2 outs, so now we're at 17. And then D, if the runner's held, subtract 1. If runner's not held, add 1. The runners were not held, so that will make it an 18. So we're going to let Bush score. We're going to cut the throw off, though, and keep Cobb at second base. So Cobb's going to get a double, picks up an RBI. Bush is going to score. Tigers and Senators are tied at 3. It's going to bring up Sam Crawford with Cobb at second base. So Crawford is 1 for 1 on the day. He did draw a walk in the second inning. He does have 2 stolen bases, both of second, in the game thus far. So Crawford's up, 2 down. Cobb's at second. Infield is playing normal. That's a 2 and a 7 against the left-handed batter with a right-handed pitcher, pardon me. 2 and a 7 is a double, 1 to 10, a single, 11 to 20. And there are 2 stars off of both. A 2. So Crawford ends up with a double and drives in Cobb. So that gives the Tigers the go-ahead run. Crawford's at second with 2 outs for the first baseman Jim Delahanty. Nice job of the Tigers converting those hits to runs. So Delahanty's at the plate. Crawford is not being held. Infield's playing normal. Delahanty's going to swing away 2 outs. A 6 and a 9. Against a right-handed batter is a fly ball right field. So the Tigers are able to get 2 and take the lead for the first time in the game. And after 4.5, it's the Tigers 4 and the Senators 3. Jack Lelevet's going to get the Senators started in the bottom half of the 5th. Lelevet is 1 for 2 on the day. It's a 1 and an 11 against a right-handed pitcher. We have a split. It's a single 1 to 17. Line out to second base 18 to 20. And that's a single. So bats are starting to liven up a little bit. Lelevet reaches for the second time today. He's going to bring up the left-handed hitting Doc Gessler. Lelevet will not attempt to steal, however, he is going to be held on base. Shortstop Donnie Bush and first baseman Jim Delahanty for the Tigers are working together to keep Lelevet from getting too far away. Gessler's going to swing away. So a 6 and a 6 against the left-handed batter results in a double 1 to 4, a single 5 to 20 with 2 stars. And that's a double. So Lelevet is going to make it to third. Gessler picks up a double. And for the third time in the game, the Senators have runners in scoring position with no outs. Let's see if they can convert this. Shortstop George McBride is up next. 1911, McBride was a 235 hitter. Just thinking about potentially bunting here. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and swing away with McBride. It's a 6 and an 11 against a right-handed batter is a pop out to short. So 1 down. Brings up Bill Cunningham. Cunningham hit into a fielder's choice in the first, grounded out 6-3 in the 4th. At a 190 batting average. I am going to bunt with Cunningham. This is going to be a squeeze. Looking to do a safety squeeze with Lelevet and Cunningham. See where we're at. I'm not going to play my corners in. We're not going to do that. I'm kind of making the assumption that corners wouldn't have been brought in this situation, given where Cunningham is batting in the lineup. So we're gonna go with just a straight bunting level of A. Let me know if you disagree with me in the comment sections. Here we go. It's going to be a safety squeeze. Ball's hit to the pitcher, and it's an 8. 8 results in a bad bunt. Batter lays down a bad bunt. Lead runner is thrown out by the fielder. Wow, that's unfortunate. That was literally the only result of bad on that roll was an 8 on the A column. So unfortunate for the Senators, good for the Tigers. So Cunningham makes it to first. Lelevet is thrown out at home, and we score that 3-2 for the second out. And that's going to move Gessler over to third. It's going to bring up John Henry. It's 1 for 2 on the day, had a single in the fourth and was able to score. 2 down, John Henry's up, it's going to swing away. It's a 3 and an 11 against a right-handed pitcher, results in a pop out to second base. So the Senators have a chance to get some runs on the board with leadoff hits by Lulavat and a double by Gessler. However, they fail to convert. Willett and the Tigers are able to shut them down. And after 5, it's Detroit 4 and the Washington Senators 3. Top of the 6th. Tigers 4, Senators 3. George Moriarty, the Tigers' third baseman's up. Moriarty's 0 for 2 today. Flies balls hit to center field and right field. The pitch from Long Tom Hughes, 6 and an 8 to a right-handed batter, is a fly-out center field B. That's a fly-out 8 for the first out. Brings up second baseman Charlie O'Leary. O'Leary is 1 for 2. Grounded out in the second, got a single in the fourth. His pitch, 6 and an 8 against a right-handed batter, results in a fly ball to center field. Same result. Second out, catcher Oscar Stanage is up next, trying to get something going for the Tigers here in the top of the 6th. Stanage is 1 for 2 with a single in the third, strikeout in the fourth. Hughes looking for a 1-2-3 inning. That's a 6 and a 6 against a right-handed batter. Trouble. Double 1 to 10, single 11 to 20. So that's a single. So Stanage picks up his second hit of the day. So with 2 down, Detroit has a runner on base. It's going to bring up the pitcher Ed Willett, hitting with the number 4 pitcher's card. Stanage is going to roll for a good lead. Yeah, no, we're not going to try it with Stanage. We've got Willett up. We're going to have him swing away though. We've got 2 outs, so that's a 4 and a 4 against a right-handed batter is a catcher X. So a CX is the play. Ian Smith is a 3-11 for a range fielding number. So our roll results in a 2. That's a WG. And then a 8-13 on the 11 is a blank. So WG blank. Our outcome is, when runners are on base, a pitcher uncorks a wild pitch. All runners advance 1 base and play resumes with the same batter at the plate. So, wild pitch occurs from Hughes. Stanage goes to second on the wild pitch. And Willett's going to get another crack at this. So 2 down. Tigers pitcher's at the plate. It's a 3 and a 7. 3 and a 7 results in a strikeout. So Stanage is stranded at second. Willett strikes out for the third out of the inning, and after 5 and a half, it's Detroit 4 and Washington 3. Ian Smith, the Senators catcher's up first for the Senators here in the bottom half of the 6th. Ian Smith is 1 for 2, struck out in the second, had a single in the fourth. The pitch from Willett, a 1 and a 5, results in a strikeout. Second strikeout for Ian Smith on the day. First out of the inning for the Senators. Tom Hughes is up next using the 3 batting card. Hughes hits from the right side of the plate. He has a sacrifice in the fourth, and in the second he grounded out 4-3. The pitch, a 5 and a 6 against a right-handed batter, results in a double 1 to 13, a single 14 to 20. And that's a double. So Tom Hughes helps himself out with a 1-out double. Gives the Senators a runner in scoring position. Hughes' base run chance is a 1 through 12. So he does have a little bit better speed than your average pitcher on the base paths. Going to bring up our leadoff hitter, Clyde Milan. Milan is 1 for 2 with a walk in the first. Looking to get something going here, getting a couple extra runs here to give the Senators the lead. Pitch to Milan is a 3 and a 9 against a right-handed pitcher, and that's going to be a ground ball first base A. So no possibility of a double play here. It's going to result in the batter being out. And what was that ball hit to again? A 3 and a 9, first base. So if it's hit to first base, batter's out, runners advance 1 base. So Hughes is going to move over to third. Milan grounds out. We're going to go 3 unassisted on that play for the second out. It's going to bring up Wood Conroy next. Hughes is on third base, 90 feet away from scoring. Senators trail 4-3. The pitch to Conroy. 2 and a 7. 2 and a 7 results in a double, 1-4. A single, 5-20. So a run's going to come in on this one. So a 17, that's a single. So Wood Conroy picks up his third hit of the day. He's 3 for 4. Gets his second RBI. And Hughes, who led off the inning with a double, scores. Nice work by Wood Conroy. We've got a timed game, folks, 4-4. Jack Lullabit is up next. 2 down for the Senators. Lullabit is 2 for 3 today with 2 singles. Reached base in the first and the 5th inning. Pitch from Willett is a 6 and a 7 against a left-handed batter, and that's a ground ball second base X. Ball's hit to the Tigers second baseman Charlie O'Leary. He's a 2/30 for fielding. 2 outs. Willett's hoping to get that second out on a conversion by O'Leary. That's a 6, resulting in a G2 hashtag. Infield was playing normal, so no issues there. A roll of a 12 on a 30 for a second baseman results in an E1. So we have a G2 E1 situation here. Error, batter to first, runners advance 1 base. So O'Leary commits an error. It's going to allow Lullabit to reach safely. Wood Conroy is going to go to second. And the Senators are mounting a 2-out rally here, looking to take the lead after tying it earlier on the run scored by the Senators pitcher Tom Hughes. Scott Gessler, left-handed batter's up next. Gessler is 1 for 3 on the day. He had a double in the 5th. Infield is playing normal. Willett's starting to show some signs of a little bit of wear out there. Let's see if he can get out of this inning. And the pitch, a 5 and a 3 against a left-handed batter, results in a ballpark effect single opportunity. So here at Griffith Stadium, for left-handed batters, a 1 through 5 results in a single. 6 or greater is the line out to the second baseman. So Gessler, unable to capitalize on a great opportunity to give the Senators a lead, lines out to second base to end the inning. Senators strand 2, but they do get 1 back. Game's tied at 4 as we enter the top of the 7th. Top of the 7th, tie ball game. Tigers at the plate. Leadoff hitter, left fielder Davy Jones is up to bat. Jones is 0 for 3 today. Hit into a double play in the 5th. Hughes still is on the mound. Hughes so far in the game's given up 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 2 walks with 4 strikeouts. So his point of weakness inning is the 8th. As typical of a lot of these starters in the 1911 card set, they can go a long time. So the pitch to Jones, a 3 and a 12 against a right-handed batter. pitcher is a line out to second base. So Jones lines out for the first out of the inning. Shortstop Donnie Bush is up next. Bush reached base in the 5th off of an error by the Senator third baseman Whit Conroy. He ended up scoring, got the Tigers scoring going in the 5th inning, one of 2 runs that were given up by Hughes and Washington in that set. For the game, he also has a hit in the 1st. He was caught stealing and a strikeout in the 3rd. So the pitch from Hughes, 1-10 against the right-handed pitcher, is a ground ball second base. So Bush is out 4-3 for the second Tigers out. Brings up the Georgia Peach, Ty Cobb. Cobb, a bit of a slow start to the game, flew out to right field, struck out, but did end up having a double in the 5th and was able to knock in that run that Donnie Bush scored. Pitch to Cobb, 5 8 against the left-handed batter, results in a fly ball to right field. So Hughes tightens up, retires 3 Tiger batters in order after 6.5. Tigers 4, Senators 4. Ed Willette's back on the mound for the Tigers. He's going to be facing George McBride. Shortstop for the Senators, McBride is 0 for 3 on the day actually. He had reached base on an error in the 1st. He struck out in the 3rd and then popped out to short in the 5th. Willette on the day has given up 10 hits, 4 runs, 3 of which were earned, 1 walk with 3 strikeouts. Pitch to McBride, 6 9 against the right-handed batter, is a strikeout. Excuse me, so Willette records his 4th strikeout of the day. Brings up the second baseman, Bill Cunningham. Cunningham's looking for his first hit of the day, hit into a fielder's choice in the 1st, grounded out in his previous 2 at-bats. Pitch from Willette, 4 6 against a right-handed batter, is a walk. So Cunningham reaches on a walk. It's going to bring up the first baseman, John Henry. Henry is 1 for 3 on the day. Cunningham, a little bit of a stealing threat. Cunningham, as I mentioned, a little bit of a stealing threat. Does get an out opportunity on a good lead roll of a 9 or a 10. Not at a point where I'm interested in trying to advance him over with a stolen base attempt. We're going to let Henry swing away. It's a 4 6. 4 6 against a right-handed batter is a walk. So Willette issues back-to-back walks. And the Senators have men on base again. So far in the game, the Senators have left 3, 5, 7, 9 runners on base, failing to be able to get them in. Andy Ainsmith, the catcher's up next. He's going to end up swinging away here. We've got 1 out. Infield's playing normal. 1 is picked up here. We've got a wild pitch opportunity on a 4 or less, and that's a 10. So no wild pitch occurs. We're going to re-roll the 3 dice. It's a 5 and a 4 against a right-handed batter. Ballpark effect, single opportunity here. So on a 5 or less, Ainsmith's going to get a single with 1 star, and he does not. So Ainsmith is going to line out to the shortstop. So that's the second out of the inning. It's going to bring up Tom Hughes, who hit a double and scored the tying run in the 6th. 2 down. Pitch to Hughes, a 2 and a 7 is going to result in a strikeout. So Hughes is unable to capitalize with runners on base. Senators strand 2, no errors, and have no hits. And at the end of 7, we have a tie ball game at 4. Top of the 8th at Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C. Tigers 4, Senators 4 tie game. Tom Hughes is still on the mound for the Senators. Both teams do have their bullpens warming up, while Bill Donovan for the Tigers, right-handed hurler, and Bob Groom, another righty for the Senators, are working to get ready to come in should they be needed. Both Hughes and Willett have reached their point of weakness inning, as they both can pitch until the 8th. So we'll see how both these starters fare. Hughes delivers to Crawford. Crawford on the day today is 2 for 2 with a walk. He had a single in the 4th and a double in the 5th. Scored a run in the 4th as well. The pitch from Hughes, a 2 and a 6 against right-handed pitchers, is a double. So Crawford gets the Tigers started out. Lead-off double. Tigers have a man in scoring position. Jim Delahanty's up next. Delahanty on the day is 0 for 3. Hughes works against Delahanty. That's a 1 and a 9 against a right-handed pitcher. Is a ground ball, shortstop A. So batter's out. Crawford holds at second. 6-3 is the score on that. Brings up George Moriarty. Moriarty, Tigers' third baseman, is 0 for 3 on the day as well. Crawford is not being held at second. It's a 1 and a 10 against a right-handed pitcher. Is a fly ball, right field B, question mark. So that's going to result in an F9 for Moriarty. Let's see if what we can do here on Crawford. We do have a runner on second. Used a calculation earlier in the game to get that runner over on a fly ball right field B. I'm going to take a look at that one more time here. I might be trying to get Crawford over. So we don't have a runner on third, so the fly B question mark doesn't enter into the picture. Fly right field B with no question mark to right field only. A runner at second base may advance. So we're going to act as if Crawford is not able to advance on that. We'll say it was a shallow fly ball to right. It's going to bring up Charlie O'Leary. Hate to think that the Tigers have wasted their opportunity with that leadoff double. We need O'Leary to convert here. 2 down, 6 and a 7 against a right-handed batter is a ground ball, second base X. That ground ball is hit to Bill Cunningham. Cunningham is a 439. It's a 16. Results in a G1. And then the roll of 13 on a 39 for a second baseman is an E1. So we have a G1, E1. It's going to work out well for the Tigers. Error, batter to first, runners advance 1 base. So score that E4. O'Leary's going to reach first. Crawford will move over to third. I'm going to bring up the catcher Oscar Stanage next. So O'Leary makes an error. Second error of the game for the Senators. Came at a bad time. Routine ground ball should have gotten the Senators out of the inning. So runners on first and third. O'Leary is going to attempt to steal. He is being held at first by the shortstop and first baseman. We get a good lead on a 2 through 5 or a 12, and we just miss a good lead. So no good lead but he will be held. That weakens the Senators' defense just a little bit. Pitch from Hughes to Stanage, again 2 outs. A 6 and an 8 against a right-handed batter is a fly ball, center field B. So Hughes is able to get out of the inning. Tigers strand 2, 1 run 90 feet away, and after 7.5, we have a tie ball game at 4. Clyde Milan, leadoff hitter for the Senators, will be the first batter up. The bottom half of the 8th. Pitch from Willette. It's a 5 and a 6 against the left-handed batter. 5 and a 6 is a triple, 1 to 5. A single, 6 to 20, and that is a single. So the Senators are able to get their leadoff batter on in the 8th as well. We'll see if they're able to move him over. Third baseman Wood Conroy is up next. Milan is going to attempt to steal. Gets a good lead on a 2 through 6 or an 11. That's a 3, although we did roll a 1. So that is going to result in a possible pickoff opportunity. So we need to roll a 1 through 17 for Milan to get back safely. And it's an 18. So Milan is picked off at first base. So leadoff base runner is out. High degree of likelihood that that steal would have worked. Just got unlucky. So Conroy remains at the plate. It's a 4-10. 4-10 against a right-handed batter. It's a fly ball, center field X. Ball's hit to Cobb. Cobb's defensive rating is a 1/19. That's a 20 is an F3, and 19, and we rolled in a 10 is a blank, so it's going to be a fly out to center field. The Georgia Peach camps underneath it and catches out 2. Two down now. Left fielder Jack Lulevit is up next. Lulevit is 2 for 4, 2 singles on the day. Pitch to Lulevit. It's a 5 and a 4 against the left-handed batter. Results in a ballpark effect single possibility. So on a 1 through 5, we'll get a single. 6 or greater is going to be a line out to second base. Line out to second base. So Senators start the inning with a single by Milan. He gets picked off first. Next 2 batters go down in order. After 8, it's the Tigers 4 and Senators 4. Top of 9. Score tied at 4. Willette's been pulled. Wild Bill Donovan's going to come in and pitch for him. Del Gaynor will be pinch hitting for Willette. Gaynor had a really solid year in 19 and 11, a 302 batting average, 248 at bats, 20 walks to 59 strikeouts, slugging percentage of 403, and an on-base percentage of 366. So hoping that something gets sparked here for the top of the order for the Tigers. Pitch to Gaynor. Hughes remains on the mound. It's a 2 and a 9 is a strikeout. So Gaynor comes in. Manager had high hopes that he'd be able to spark a Tiger rally, and he was unable to do so. Final line on Willette: he pitched 8 complete innings, gave up 11 hits, 4 runs, 3 of which were earned, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. So pretty typical performance for Willette. It's going to bring up our leadoff hitter, Davy Jones, left-handed batter. Jones on the day is 0 for 4. The pitch, a 5 and a 7 against the left-handed batter, is a ground ball, second base A. So Jones is out 4-3, and just like that, 2 are gone for the Tigers. Switch hitting Donnie Bush is up next. Bush reached on a single in the first and an error in the fifth. He was able to score off of that error as well. So 1-11 against the right-handed pitcher is a ground ball, shortstop B. So the Tigers go down 1-2-3 in the top half of the ninth, and after 8.5, tie game at 4. Doc Gessler's going to get the Senators started in their half of the ninth. Doc is 1 for 3 on the day. He had a double in the 5th inning. While Dylan, looking at his numbers, he has a relief rating of 4. Defensively pretty weak, a 5 and a 16. However, from the plate, he's about as good as you can get as a pitcher. And a number 7 hitter with an end strength, and he's a switch hitter. Box, don't expect to see any issued by him. Wild pitch on a 3 or less, hold rating of 0, and he does throw from the right side of the plate. He's going to start out his adventure here in the bottom half of the ninth against the left-handed hitting Doc Gessler. Donovan throws. It's a 3 and a 7 against the right-handed pitcher. Results in a walk. So the Senators have a leadoff walk for George McBride. McBride on the day is 3 for 4, or excuse me, McBride on the day is reached in the first off of an error and struck out in the 7th. Reaching base on an error is the only time he's been able to get on base today. So Gessler's at first. Defense will hold him. So we've got a combination of Charlie O'Leary and Jim Delahanty working to keep Gessler close at first. McBride is going to swing away. It's a 3 and a 6 against a right-handed pitcher. Results in a strikeout. So 1 down for George McBride. Just going to take a look here real quick. We'd look at a modifier -3 for Sandage's catcher arm, -2 if we roll a good lead. It would give him a 50-50 shot at 10. We're going to keep him at second base. However, I am going to bunt Bill Cunningham. He is an A-rated bunter. I did not call my defensive positioning in. Gessler is being held at first. So Cunningham's going to be able to bunt away, utilizing his A rating for bunting. So we'll go ahead and roll for that, and that's a sacrifice bunt. So that's a 5 and a 10. So the ball is hit to our first baseman, and then 10 is our result. 10 is a sacrifice. So batter lays down a good sacrifice bunt. Gessler advances to second. So Cunningham sacrifices his at-bat. 2 outs. And Gessler is now in scoring position. Just looking here, I might pinch hit for John Henry. Henry on the season's batting .203. So I want to try to see if I can't find somebody who's able to come off the bench here. A little bit better chance of getting a hit. Bring in Germany Schaefer. Schaefer's also able to play first base. So he'll stay in the game at first. He's a right-handed batter. Schaefer on the season hit .334. thinking that there may have been an injury to Schaefer. That's why he wasn't in the game. Very rarely back then did players get time off to sit. Not sure the circumstances why he wasn't in the initial lineup of this game. However, we will use him off the bench as a pinch hitter. So runners at second. Schaefer is going to swing away. We've got 2 outs. That's a 5 and a 4 against a right-handed batter, results in a catcher X. So Stanage is going to have to make a play. He does have a 110 fielding rating, so he's pretty dang solid. That's going to result in a PO and a roll of 9 on a 10 is a blank. That's going to be a pop out to the catcher. So pop out 2, 3. The Senators do strand 1. No walks issued. Donovan gets through the 9th, keeping the game tied, and Schaefer is going to stay in the game for John Henry. So at the end of 9, we have a tie ball game as we're heading to extra innings. Hughes is going to remain in the game for the Senators. He's going to face Ty Cobb. He's done a nice job against Ty Cobb today. Cobb's only 1 for 4. Had a double in the 5th, struck out in the 3rd, and had fly balls to right field his other 2 at bats. Hughes to Cobb, the pitch, 2 and a 10. Is going to be a ground ball, first base A. So Cobb's retired. Scored that 3 unassisted. Sam Crawford is up next. Crawford, though, has had Hughes' number. He's 3 for 3 with 2 doubles and a walk with 1 run scored. Pitch from Hughes, a 4 and an 8. It's going to be another walk. So Crawford reaches first. Delahanty's up next. Delahanty is 0 for 4 on the day. I'm going to consider stealing with Crawford. So that's a 7. It does result in a good lead. So Ainsmith, the catcher, has a +2 arm. Hughes has a 0 hold rating. So that's going to negate the -2 from the good lead. So Crawford will steal second on a roll of 15 or less. That's a 20. So Crawford, looking for his 3rd stolen base of the game, is caught stealing. That's 2 down now. Delahanty's still at the plate. 5 and a 5 against a right-handed batter. Get this. N, home run 1 through 3, double 4 through 20. And Delahanty does have that N power. And I rolled a 1. It's a home run, not a walk-off, but a home run by Delahanty. So Delahanty gets his most timely hit of the day, making him 1 for 5, but he does get that go-ahead home run. On the season, Delahanty only had 3 home runs for the entire season. Interesting. It's going to bring up 3rd baseman George Moriarty. Moriarty is an 0 for on the day as well, 0 for 4. All fly balls to the outfield. Pitch from Hughes, a 3 and a 7. It's going to result in a single. So, hoping to get Hughes through the 10th. He is going to be lifted, and that's going to mean that Moriarty is owned by Hughes. We're going to be bringing in Bob Groom. Groom is a right-handed thrower. -1 hold rating. No balk here. However, 6 for the wild pitch. He has a defensive rating of 227 bunt rating of B, and he is a number 1 WR pitcher. So Groom is going to come in for Hughes. Hughes is the pitcher of record at the moment for the Senators. Charlie O'Leary, the second baseman for the Tigers, is up next. Moriarty's at first. He will be held. The second baseman and first baseman working together to keep Moriarty at first. The pitch from Groom is a 5 and a 4. 5 and a 4 against a right-handed batter is a catcher X. Ain Smith is a 3 and an 11. So a 5 on a 3 is a P/P. And then the 11, 9, 13 results in no piece there. So with runners on base, a pitch gets past the catcher for a pass ball. All runners advance 1 base. Play resumes with the same batter. So I'm going to have to look at the pass ball opportunity here rather than just taking it at face value. So Ain Smith's pass ball is a rating of 8 or less. And that is not. No pass ball occurs. So we're going to re-roll. It's a 2 and a 12 against a right-handed pitcher. That's a ground ball, third base A. So O'Leary grounds out 5-3 for the third out. But the Tigers are able to pick up the go-ahead run off of Jim Delahanty's solo bomb. And after 9.5, it's the Tigers 5 and the Senators 0. Or excuse me, 4. So the Senators are up. Donovan is still on the mound for the Tigers. Catcher Eddie Ain Smith leading off for the Senators. Ain Smith on the day is 1 for 4. He had a single in the 4th inning. Pitch from Donovan. 4 and a 7 against a right-handed batter is a strikeout. So 1 down. Donovan working his way towards a save. Actually the win. He's the pitcher of record for the Tigers in terms of who will get the win. Tom Hughes is up next. Hughes will be pinch hit for. Or excuse me, Bob Groom will be pinch hit for. He has a 1 batting rating, so we're going to look to see if we can't bring somebody in to help him out. You know, what's interesting with this Washington team is that the talent really drops off quickly with their bench players. I'm going to bring in Kid Everfield. Actually, pretty darn good season in 1911 as well. So Ain Smith is retired. Elberfeld will be at the plate. He's a pinch hitter. Righty-righty matchup here. A 1 and a 4 results in a ground ball, third base B. So high hopes for Elberfeld go diminished. Going to bring up the leadoff hitter Clyde Milan, who's had a good day today. He's 2 for 4 with 2 singles. He was caught stealing in the 8th inning. So we've got 2 down now for the Senators. 4 and a 12. 4 and a 12 against a left-handed batter. is a split, a single 1 to 11, line out 12 to 20. And that's a line out to second base. So O'Leary makes a leaping snag for the third out, and the Tigers, off of a Jim Delahanty solo shot in the 10th inning, are going to take the game 5-4. Bill Donovan is the winning pitcher for the Senators, and Tom Hughes takes the loss for, Donovan takes the win for the Tigers. Hughes is going to take the loss for the Senators.